tonight. RCMP update the investigation after 4 people were killed at Carry the Kettle, Nakoda Nation. Are local shops that stock American goods rethinking what they sell? Winter is still here as parts of the province see significant snowfall.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Wednesday, February the 5th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Hi there, thank you for watching. 4 people are dead on a First Nation east of Regina. Police have charged one man, but it's not clear if he's connected to the case. Alexandra Kwan brings us the latest from Carry the Kettle, Nakoda Nation.
In the early hours of Wednesday morning, Regina Police Service took a 29-year-old man into custody. That suspect is believed to be connected to an incident at Zagame Anishinabek, formerly known as the Sakame First Nation. The First Nation is about 130 kilometers east of Regina. Around 3 p.m. Tuesday, RCMP received multiple reports of a man pointing a gun at people there. Keegan Panapakisik is facing 1 count of pointing a firearm and 1 count of possession of a firearm contrary to an order. 2 other people were also taken into custody, but their involvement isn't clear. We also don't know if Panapakisik is connected to a quadruple homicide at the nearby Carry the Kettle Nakoda Nation. That First Nation is about 80 kilometers east of Regina. Local police arrived at a residence there Tuesday morning after reports came in just after 11 a.m. 4 people were found dead inside, and RCMP now say the deaths are considered homicides, and their investigation so far suggests that the residents may have been targeted.
Given that it is a quadruple homicide, it is a complicated, complex investigation, and it's requiring a large amount of resources to forward. We are working towards identifying suspects that we will be able to hopefully charge in the future.
For many, the incident raises the specter of the mass stabbings in James Smith Cree Nation in 2022. Police insist they had no reason to issue a public safety alert, and they acknowledge the pain present at Carry the Kettle.
It's a tragedy at the end of the day. How uncommon it is, I think, it doesn't happen every year, every month, but every time it does happen, it impacts everybody. It impacts the communities, the families, the province, the police officers.
CBC News has been in contact with Carry the Kettle Chief Scott Ishipi. He's asking for the nation's privacy to be respected at this difficult time. As of Wednesday morning, Carry the Kettle remains on lockdown. That means no one in and no one out. Police say there is no danger to the general public at this time, and they continue to monitor the situation. Alexander Kwan, CBC News, Carry the Kettle, Nakoda Nation.
It is really coming down outside. Visibility is terrible. You're definitely going to have to shovel. Ethan Williams popping in now for a quick update. Look at all that white behind you.
Yeah, this is just one example, Sam, of the roads Wednesday afternoon. This is from a highway camera near Wapella. You can just make out the highway there. But yeah, visibility near zero in some spots as we've gone through Wednesday afternoon. The snow beginning to taper off here as it moves into portions of central Saskatchewan, and southern Saskatchewan starts to see the snow go away as we head into the overnight hours. I think generally where we still have snowfall warnings in place, another 5 to 10 centimeters in east central parts of the province, another 2 to 4 for places like Moose Jaw, Assiniboia, and Regina. But now that the skies are clearing in behind this, we actually have an extreme cold warning in place for places like Maple Creek, the Cypress Hills, the Val Marie area, as the wind chills will be down around -40 as we head Wednesday into Thursday. Looks like there's more of that cold weather in store. I'll have the details on that, Sam, coming up in my full forecast.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
People living in a Regina mobile home community are worried about their future. This after some received eviction letters. Jeffrey Tram explains.
Residents of the Glen Elm Trailer Court in East Regina say they were blindsided when eviction notices arrived.
Well, actually, they sent me 2. They brought one to the door, and they actually sent one registered mail, which I thought was a bit extreme, but whatever.
The letters cited unfixable water and sewage problems. Tenants have until the end of April to leave. Garth Churchill says people did notice an issue when water started flooding their yards.
Basically had a moat because it warmed up that 1 week, and there's like 3 inches of water all the way around the house.
He believes the damage was caused when another trailer was removed.
something happened after they just demolished that trailer, and the water was just basically everywhere. Then they said, oh, more than the water was damaged, sewer line is also damaged, and we have to move.
For many, moving isn't realistic. Churchill says relocating would be expensive and risky.
And if you move the house, the moving company tell you that they're not responsible if anything is damaged. And I guarantee you, if you say they're not responsible, it's going to be damaged. I'm going to have to just sort of abandon it and go back to renting a regular apartment.
If residents can't or won't move their home, they're being offered a buyout, just $6,000. Janice Headley paid $125,000 for her trailer. It was an investment she hoped to pass down to her son.
I thought it would be a home that I would be here until I die.
While she didn't get the eviction letter, Headley believes it's only a matter of time. She's calling on the city to help people find a new place for their trailers.
So does nobody taking us serious? Do they not care? Just find us a property to move our trailers. That's all we're asking.
The manager of the mobile home committee would not comment on the situation. Residents tell me they're exploring all options, including higher compensation and legal action. But with the clock ticking, many are left scrambling to figure out the next move. Jeffrey Tram, CBC News, Regina.
Around 80 temporary educational assistants are being let go from Saskatoon Public Schools. They'll be cut over the next 2 weeks because of a lack of funding, a decision the school board says they made in the last 3 weeks. Paulina Mahalik has more.
Saskatoon Public School Division says in the past it received millions of dollars through Jordan's Principle each year. The federal initiative ensures Indigenous children have access to supports they need. That includes education assistance. Saskatoon Public has used money from Jordan's Principle to pay for EAs since the 2018-19 school year. They reapply every year and last year received $15 million, but have received nothing since April. That means over the next 2 weeks, 80 EAs will lose their jobs.
Teachers are going to be impacted in that that extra adult that they have there to support the programming that they're putting in place for students who have gaps in their learning or perhaps have physical.
Reaching out to other divisions, Saskatoon Catholic and Regina Public say they did receive their funding. No layoffs there. Regina Catholic is still waiting for funding, but they won't be letting anyone go. The NDP calls this a huge loss.
So losing 80 more professionals in a system that is on the brink, that ranks last in Canada in terms of per student funding, is a very significant loss. It will have a very negative impact on students in classrooms.
In the fall, Saskatoon Public hired 200 new EAs. It's been managing to pay everyone so far with a surplus from last year. Around 110 of those EAs won't have their contract end early and will be paid through that surplus. CBC contacted the province and is awaiting a response. The federal government tells CBC that Jordan's Principle is, quote, only supposed to be used when necessary. Funding is also supposed to be used appropriately and specifically for First Nations children.
Well, education is a provincial jurisdiction, and I'd like to see the province take some leadership on working with divisions that are impacted and also working with partners at the federal level to ensure that that those funds that are designated are getting to the right place.
The federal government has identified 140,000 unprocessed applications for Jordan's Principle funds. 25,000 of them are labeled as urgent. At this point, they can't say when they'll be cleared or if funding will follow. Paulina Mahalik, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Some bad news for your wallet if you have a serious coffee habit. The cost of coffee is going up. And as Malika Kareem reports, those in the biz say it won't be coming down anytime soon.
Your morning cup of joe might cost you a bit more soon, thanks to a weak Canadian dollar. Amid ongoing threats of climate change to the world's largest coffee-producing regions, the price of coffee has recently hit record highs on global markets. With the loonie falling in recent months, it's making the situation worse in shops in Canada.
All green coffee is purchased in U.S. funds. So as our Canadian dollar continues to weaken, it'll just cost us more per pound.
Small roasters pay producers extra for specialty coffee beans, with some saying a pound of coffee is costing close to $8 Canadian now, more than a 100% increase from this time last year.
For us, it's been like survival. And it will continue to be that for us and a number of smaller coffee roasters. It will be survival.
So that cost will now pour over to customers. Coffee roasters say if you haven't seen price corrections yet, you'll likely see them in the next 6 months. Malika Karim, CBC News, Calgary.
Well, you could cozy up with a coffee as that snow continues to fall across much of southern Saskatchewan as Environment Canada's snowfall warning plays out in real time. It won't be until Friday that we get to see the sunshine return, and with it, it doesn't get any warmer. Temperatures very much below normal for this time of year. When we come back, Ethan will have your full forecast. Stay with us. Welcome back. The looming Canada-U.S. trade war is keeping local business owners a little anxious. Tariffs are delayed for a month, but as Jeremy Warren found out, some stores that rely on U.S. imports are rethinking what they sell.
The tea here is local, which is actually our own brand. And then we've got Deadly Grounds coffee out of Toronto.
Mike Ehrman wants to get more Canadian goods on his shelves. Glitch Gifts and Novelties sells specialty candy, pop culture, ephemera, and gag gifts. As much as 75% of his stock is imported from the U.S., but now that's changing.
I think we've gotten away from a lot of our own industry, and we have a lot of great companies here that we can be supporting, and I think I just need to dig a little deeper and find some of these great products that are within Canada. I don't think I'll stop selling American product, but I think it's time to just bring in more Canadian product.
The Canadian Federation of Independent Business says about half of our small businesses export to or import from the U.S. The lobby group surveyed members about tariffs. 2/3 of small businesses said they'll have to raise prices to offset the costs. The Funky Gifter sells specialty snacks and soda at stores in Regina, Moose Jaw, and Yorkton. About 80% of its items are imported from the U.S. If tariffs hit, prices are likely to rise.
We will be breaking down when we do our pricing, what we pay in taxes, what we're charging in taxes, what we're charging in tariffs. Just to show, be transparent with the customer.
Kozak says he has messages from hundreds of customers pledging to keep shopping even if tariffs hit. A small comfort given the economic roller coaster.
The uncertainty in the air is something we've been dealing with since COVID. It's kind of been one thing after another, and I think this is just another hurdle that we need to figure out.
Ehrman says he is determined to stock more Canadian goods whether the tariffs happen or not. Jeremy Warren, CBC News, Saskatoon.
A potential trade war with the states has many looking to Canada becoming more self-reliant, but one of the biggest hurdles remains interprovincial trade barriers. Now, threats from Donald Trump may be unintentionally giving Canada the motivation to tackle it, and even federal ministers say they're eager to pursue. Jean LaRoche reports.
Anita Anand was in Halifax to announce money for the Port of Halifax to prepare to handle ships powered by greener fuels. But Canada's internal trade minister was asked about a more pressing problem.
Can interprovincial trade barriers be dealt with, wiped away in 30 days?
Well, thank you for the question. The short answer to your question is yes.
It's a bold promise given the decades Ottawa and the provinces have been working on reducing red tape, or trying to come up with a common standard for food inspection, or even agreeing on the safest safety vest. Truckers have long complained about having to adhere to different rules in different provinces, wasting time and costing money. Despite how slow change has been, Anand is predicting, in her words, incredible fast-paced progress.
We are at a pivotal moment in the history of our country and in the future of the Canadian economy. And every minister at the table felt the need, as do I, as does our government, to act collectively, to seize the moment, and to do whatever we can to reduce those barriers to trade.
She says ports on the east and west coast also have a part to play in connecting Canadian businesses to new buyers in Europe and Asia.
When we see the threat of Trump tariffs coming to our country, the need for us to diversify our supply chains has never been more palpable, has never been more present.
The $22.5 million announced today for the Port of Halifax will prepare the city for the ships of the future to carry Canadian goods wherever there's a willing and affordable market. Jean Laroche, CBC News, Halifax.
Our weather specialist Ethan Williams joins me now. I'm getting cranky. I'm about ready for spring to start showing its face. Yeah?
Real spring or false spring?
I'll take false spring at this point.
Yeah.
Give me the false hope.
Yeah, I'm okay with that and then going back into winter 20 times briefly. That's what we do here on the prairies.
It is.
Yeah, but definitely we are in the grips of full-on winter. We got the cold, we got the snow, and a lot of us, I think, kind of wondering when this snow is going to be coming to an end. Of course, it adds much-needed moisture to many areas. That's what we keep saying, and that's what I think has been keeping us somewhat sane through all of this as winter continues along. But here's where things are going to be standing as we go overnight Wednesday and into Thursday here. Again, much of the snowfall kind of wrapping around back into central areas of the province and into east central Saskatchewan. For Regina, for the south, I think we're not in for a whole lot more snowfall as we get into early Thursday. The Parkland region, I think there will be a few lingering patches of flurries or maybe some light snow hanging on as we get into the commute for Thursday. But then pretty quickly we actually start to see clearing skies move in as we get later into Thursday afternoon for many areas. Save for the north, a little bit of some snow moving through, especially far northern sections. And that clearing is reinforced by this area of high pressure, which is moving in originally from the Northwest Territories. It's coming our way via Alberta. And that is also going to bring some cooler temperatures, unfortunately, as that moves on through. But at least we will get the sunshine back. Preliminary totals for the remainder of this snowfall event, again, are probably in the range of only another 5 centimeters or so, especially in east central areas and through the Parkland region. Even in areas outside of the snowfall warning, Humboldt, Melfort, up to maybe 5 centimeters there. But you see along the Trans-Canada corridor and southward, this event is mostly over for us. What is not over for those areas, though, is the wind really starting to pick up by early Thursday morning, gusting upwards of 60 kilometers an hour and continuing to gust well into Thursday, likely for many locations, before finally that high pressure begins to move in as we get into Friday and the winds will start to die down. Still probably going to be dealing with some visibility challenges as we get into tomorrow morning, especially along the Highway 16 corridor around Yorkton to the Manitoba border. But otherwise, after that, free and clear. Snow is probably still going to be blowing, though, on the roads and deteriorating highway conditions. You see there, temperatures have been staying cool, and I think for the most part that'll continue to be the case. You see the jet stream here not really showing any major shape, no ridges, no troughs, nothing like that, but a general kind of straight flow, but to our south, which means those colder temperatures still moving in, those light blues, those whites representing some pretty chilly temperatures coming our way. And here's how that pans out. Again, blowing snow for Regina through much of Thursday before the winds die down and skies clear for Friday. Temperatures struggling to get above minus 20, though, for several days after that, with nighttime temperatures getting close to minus 30. Saskatoon, again, you're still dealing with some blowing and drifting conditions for Thursday, back down to minus 20 for Friday, Saturday. That'll be a chilly Sunday with that wind blowing, and then feeling into the minus 30s for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So yes, we're trying to get to spring, Sam, although we're struggling.
It's like an army crawl through deep snow and not going well.
No, and getting blown in the face with snow.
Thanks, Ethan.
You're welcome.
Marcus Sayles and Mario Alford are staying in green and white. The Saskatchewan Rough Riders announcing they've re-signed the Popular Americans. Alford for a year, Sayles for 2. The receiver and defensive back were set to become free agents when the period opens up next Tuesday. The Riders still have more than a dozen players, including some big names, that could sign elsewhere. We will be back after the break. Thousands of students across the country focused on a Regina classroom on Wednesday. They were part of a virtual presentation about weather and prediction based out of WS Hawrelak School. It's a program run by Let's Talk Science, educating kids about science, tech, engineering, and math.
So what does this word weather mean?
For educators, we find sometimes they don't always know the background of weather, how to teach about weather. It's one of the topics that a lot of teachers have to teach across Canada. So learning about the different science behind the weather, what actually helps us predict the weather, giving them real life examples and careers that students could potentially go into by learning about the weather.
Those are observations.
I think even just making inferences, the difference between making observations and then inferring based on what you observe, that was really important for their critical thinking. They also really enjoy the group work and being able to make mistakes and have wrong predictions and then learning from those.
In this case, the rain goes in it.
We were doing stations, learning about like what these cool things did. Like there's one that measured snow, there's one that measured rain, and wind, and how hot and cold it was. I think I want to try that out. It was really cool.
Maybe the...
So, Ethan, what does weather mean?
It means that we've got some future weather specialists, I think, in that classroom there, willing to share their weather expertise with us. Great to be with that class at WS Hawrelak, and thanks for having us out. Temperatures tonight, speaking of the weather, through south and central hanging around the -20 mark or so, and again, the rest of that snow beginning to move out, but the winds picking up. For northern Saskatchewan, this is actually quite a nice night. Temperatures actually for most not even below -20, but the cloud cover sticking around, and we'll see a few lingering flurries as we get through the day on Thursday. Not much accumulation expected from that, though. A little bit breezy in the north, but definitely windy through south and central as we see the rest of that snow moving out. Skies beginning to clear out west through the day. Temperatures, though, hanging back in that -15 to -20 range. But don't be fooled by this nicer looking weather, Sam, because I think the winds definitely going to make this feel closer to -30.
Can you remind us what normal is for this time of year?
For south and central, we're about -8, -9. So we're a good 10 to 15 degrees below normal. So.
And whose fault is that?
Definitely, I'm going to blame it on the weather presentation today. Right? That's got to work.
You know what? We'll leave it there for the night, Ethan.
Great.
All right, thanks for watching.